An instant classic on Sunday Night Football, shootout between the 49ers and the Bears, and what that sets up for Week 18. Speaking of Week 18, set up for the Ravens and Steelers. Loser goes home. Same in the NFC South between the Bucs and the Panthers. We'll get into all of it from Week 17 on today's NFL Six Pack.
This is Locked On's NFL Six Pack. 6 bold takes from 2 guys who just flat out know football. NFL experts Matt Williamson and Brian Peacock bring pure NFL talk. Great takes, no fluff, just honest football talk. Crack one open. It's NFL Six Pack on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the NFL Six Pack. Brian Peacock and Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hope you had a great holiday, and I hope you enjoyed watching the NFL this weekend. A lot of great games to get to from Sunday and Saturday, and how it impacts this NFL regular season that will end here in about 6 more days. And we've got some maneuvering happening on the Week 18 schedule as well because of all of it. And we have to start, I believe, Matt, our 6-pack today with, just got to get the sound in there.
Nice.
Crack it open. Wow. Game of the year, potentially. If you love offense, if you love defense, maybe you didn't like this one between the 49ers and the Bears on Sunday Night Football. 42-38, the 49ers were able to get one final stop from the 2-yard line and win that football game. A back and forth. The game was tied 5 times between the 49ers and the Bears. Caleb Williams making some big time throws and some big time plays, only to be outdone by Brock Purdy and some of the magic there at quarterback. What were your thoughts? Bad defense, good offense? I think this was just a good old fashioned fun matchup of 2 quarterbacks that do things their own way, and 2 of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL, and the defenses were just bad enough to allow all of that to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, and you probably heard this on the broadcast, but they said something along the lines of it was the first NFL game that started 7-0, 7-7, 14-7, 14-14, 21-20, all the way down to like 35s. And boy, did it feel like that. Like even throwing the pick 6 early, it wasn't like real early. Oh no, we're doomed. Like we're like the best offense in the league. It doesn't matter. We're going to get it back.
I mean, it felt as bad as you could get from a 49ers perspective after the first play of the game. Because you throw the ball to the other team, TJ Edwards takes it back the other way. Great play by Jalen Johnson to jump a slant route there from Brock Purdy. And you're in a 7-0 hole, and you lose Trent Williams on that play. He played one snap in this game. And so Austin Pleasance, the journeyman, comes in and plays left tackle for 71 of the 72 offensive snaps of that game. And the 49ers
that was the first snap.
Did a great job running the football, throwing the football after that. Yeah, and it was amazing. It was the 49ers were able to go back down and tie the game up immediately. So you're back to square. Then they got 1-3 and out there. We're able to go down and score, take the 14-7 lead, and no team ever had more than 1 score of a lead. And yeah, 7-7, 14-7, 14-14, 21-14, 21-21, 28-21. Pretty amazing how that game went. And amazingly, Robert Saleh's defense on the last play of the game, Matt, sent 2 rushers and got a 3 rusher.
Yeah.
How's that happen? Oh my God. And it was all, I think it was just one extra play of, and Ben Johnson after the game did say that they, maybe it was on him and maybe the call got in late and they weren't quite all on the same page as they were lining up for that play, because it seemed somewhat doomed from the start. But it seemed at a certain point that Caleb Williams leaned maybe a little bit too much into the, let's go off script and just immediately take off out of the pocket. And
maybe, I mean, it didn't look like there was anything there though either,
I think immediately he could have thrown to the back coming out of the backfield, but he bailed out to the left side where all the receivers were going to the right side of the play too.
That might have been a mistake.
Yeah. I think there was some miscommunication there. But the fact that you get a free rusher when you send 2 rushers is something that can't happen there either after all of that. And you felt like, man, maybe the 49ers scored too soon because the last team that's going to have the ball is going to win it. But no, the 49ers were able to get the stop, win it 42-38 against the Bears. That sets up a Seahawks 49ers Week 18 that's going to be Saturday night prime time for the NFC West and for the 1 seed in the NFC. Pretty remarkable. What a fun football game that was. And I know that that Caleb Williams came up on the losing end there. But, man, did he make some fun throws in that game.
Yeah, and you asked me some questions to start the show that I wanted to go back and address too. That with no horse in the race, I actually came away from that game feeling better about both teams. And not better about either defense, frankly. But, I mean, both these teams are very legit. I've had questions about both of them several steps of the way since between week 1 and now. How good are they? Are the Bears just a fun story? No, they're really good. Like Patriots, Jags, Bears. I think they all answered like they're good teams. The Niners overcoming all the injuries and it doesn't matter, and their offense is just humming. And I've had questions about Purdy over the years. He's playing so well. I have all those questions are gone. And McCaffrey, no Kittle, doesn't matter. And both the coordinators / play callers, head coaches are out of this world. And the other note was, boy, Williams is an easy one, but your boy Burden and Loveland are going to be really good players for the Bears for a while.
It's funny. I my takeaway was similar. I came away from this game thinking, man, the 49ers, if they only had Bosa and Fred Warner, right?
Yeah.
Do they have enough horses on defense when, in January, do you have that? And can you really go all the way, even with this great story, even if you get the 1 seed, how difficult that's going to be when you get into the tournament and your defense can't stop anybody. That might be very difficult. And I kind of felt the same way about the Bears defense. And I came away thinking, man, Caleb Williams made some amazing throws, but missed some throws. And another year, maybe, and you add a few more pieces. I came away thinking, man, the Bears might be that team next year. But maybe. I feel like with both of these teams, they also showed their warts, why they might not be there in the end. And how cool would it be for the 49ers to be able to just stay at home the entire time, because the Super Bowl is going to be in their home stadium, in Levi's Stadium. So they could potentially get the home field and never leave again.
No, which is really cool. And us folks on the East and in the Northeast in particular, probably don't think California gets weather. I understand San Francisco is not going to be perfect weather this time of year. But all in all, they might be able to just win every game in this fashion, even through the playoffs, if they don't have to go to Green Bay or Philly or, some terrible weather place,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And so that's a huge win for the 49ers. Both teams were already locked into playoff spots. So we're just talking about seeding here in the NFC. Let's stay in the NFC West, Matt, because the Seattle Seahawks handled their business against the Carolina Panthers in a division that nobody wants to win in the NFC South. We'll talk about that in a second. But 27-10, the Seahawks defeated the Panthers. So they handled their business, which means with the Seahawks win and the 49ers win, no matter what happens for the Rams, they cannot win the West anymore because they won't have the tiebreaker over whoever wins next week between the Seahawks and the 49ers. So it's the Seahawks and the 49ers playing for the West and the 1 seed on Saturday night in Week 18, which should be a ton of fun. And this game was really close until at the end, late, the Seahawks kind of poured it on, and the Panthers petered out in the 27-10 win. It was, I think it was tied at 3, right, at halftime. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this from the Seahawks, where they've had these games where they couldn't put the ball in the end zone. In fact, I think they went at least 6 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown until the second half of this game against the Panthers.
Yeah, and I say we talked about this when we previewed the game, that their offense has cooled down a little. It's gone from a A- to a B, but when it mattered, they just show that they're a very capable team for these business trips, that we're just going to figure out a way to win. We're better. We're not going to stumble. And I think that's really the showing of a champion, a winner, all those things. Their defense is really, really good. This one was more about Carolina, though, to me. You average 2.7 yards per play for the Panthers against the top defense. And just when I was starting to look at Bryce Young and be like, I used to be totally out on Bryce Young. And then recently I'm like, I get it. And I know he's going to be their quarterback next year. But then when the level of competition goes up and he only throws for 54 yards, it's like, Yeah, he can't hang with the big boys, and I mean that pun intended.
Yeah, it's I totally agree with you there. And whoever is the 5 seed is in a pretty good spot in the NFC if they're going to Carolina or if they're going to Tampa. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall to 7-9. They lose 20-17 to the Miami Dolphins, which sets up a Week 18 matchup. Loser goes home and does not make the playoffs on Saturday. This will be the day game Saturday with the Bucs and the Panthers for the NFC South. And winner wins the division, loser doesn't make the playoffs. So we've got playoff football essentially in Week 18 with at least 2 of these games.
This is a tough loss, though. I mean, 3 turnovers kills you. I mean, the Bucs, I think they've lost 7 of their last 8. Like that's not the type of team I think that they are at all, or I thought they would be. But eventually you just got to say you're a well below average team that just finds a way to lose week after week after week. And I even thought, Mayfield was a little better in this game. I kind of blamed him. A lot of talk in Tampa that they let the wrong coach go, that, Cohen should be the head coach. And I understand that, but not good vibes at all around Tampa right now.
It's falling apart. The defense can't stop people.
Yeah.
The defense can't outscore people like it was earlier on in the year. The stat line looks great for Baker Mayfield, 346 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns, but it didn't feel that way watching the game.
No.
They were just in comeback mode and chucking the football. And so, yeah, something's really off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when halfway through the season. I mean, it's the same story as with the Indianapolis Colts, right? And people were talking about Bucs Colts in the Super Bowl halfway through the year. And potentially neither one of these teams, we already know the Colts aren't going to make the playoffs. The Bucs might not as well. And if they make the playoffs and win the division, it'll be with an 8-9 record, sub 500.
Yeah, I do a Steelers shows 2 hours a day. And every Tuesday we just go through NFL.com's power ranks. And there was a time that the Colts and the Bucs had a stint at number 1, not like even in the top 5. They were, it wasn't crazy to say they were the best team in the league. You lose 7 out of 8 since then, though.
Oof, that's brutal. Still one more shot for the Bucs and the Panthers in Week 18. We mentioned the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. More on that game next. And, of course, we got to talk about the AFC North, which is also set up for a playoff game, essentially, in Week 18 to win the division. Loser goes home and more from Week 17, Sunday and Saturday. That was next. Today's episode of the NFL Six Pack is brought to you by PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down, and PrizePicks lets you stay in control. PrizePicks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting. Just pick more or less on all the player projections that you find right there in the PrizePicks app, and you are on your way. And man, getting started with PrizePicks, quick and simple. It makes watching games more engaging, especially when following individual performances. You can utilize your lineups in any way you want. It's super quick to make a lineup in less than 60 seconds, and you can filter in as many different players and projections into your lineups and tons of different lineups to make it play your way for an NFL weekend or a night of NBA hoops. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay, I think this is the section of the podcast where we talk about the AFC North. Speaking of divisions that nobody wants to win. And let's go back to Saturday with the Baltimore Ravens and Derrick Henry going absolutely crazy. He did not spend too much time on the bench in this game, Matt. This was a statement game from King Henry that he's not done, that the Baltimore Ravens are not done, going to Green Bay, defeating the Packers, which is something that they had to do Saturday to save their playoff lives. And man, did they do it in resounding fashion. 41-24 win over the Packers. The Packers now are locked into the 7 seed and only the 7 seed in the NFC playoffs. Derrick Henry, though, 36 carries a career high 216 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. The Packers, man, was I wrong about this game, saying, man, that's maybe something the Packers can do pretty well, is stop the run. They could not in this football game. They were not up to the challenge at all, and Derrick Henry ran all over them. At 8-8 now, the Ravens get a matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just laid a complete egg against the Browns in Week 17.
Yep. So I watched this game intently, as I watch all of them, of course, but Steelers would have clinched with the Ravens loss. So this was everyone's on the edge of their seat around here. And Henry is the elephant in the room. And he does this late in the season, but this was even to another level. I mean, he's a ridiculous player. He's an all-time great. Some of the stats that are out there for over his career now are just ridiculous. And he's deserving of all of it. They had 22 rushing first downs in this game. He's even out there on third down, just hand it to him. The whole planet knows he's getting the ball. And I also thought Huntley played well. I mean, and I mean that going forward, in case Lamar can't play this week, who knows? That's a later in the week conversation. But Huntley held down the fort quite well, but it was the Henry show.
One note real quick, talking about Derrick Henry and the lack of the Packers stopping it. This was concerning if you are a Packers fan, if you are a
That's where I was going next.
Coach, they didn't want any part of tackling Derrick Henry.
No.
And it
was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. Yeah. They their manhood was, I think, called out.
Should be questioned a little,
and put into question for sure. They were not up to the challenge to stopping Derrick Henry.
And if this happened in week 3, probably nobody thinks twice about it. But this is crunch time. This is cold. This is in your building on a national stage. Everyone's watching. I thought it was an embarrassing performance by their defense across the board, obviously, especially the run game. And it makes me think this is not really a contender, that they've dropped a rung or two. They're not to the Bucs Carolina level in the NFC, but I really have a hard time envisioning them winning a playoff game, even if Love is 100%. Defense is so battered and just not, playing at the level they should. This is going to be an offseason note, but I'm really intrigued with Malik Willis. Steelers.
It wasn't because their quarterback was out either. Malik Willis played great. He was 18 of 21, 288 passing yards, a touchdown pass. He was going to go over 300 yards if he didn't get hurt late in the game. He had another 60 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He's a tough quarterback to play against, and he was really fun to watch in this one. It was about the defense, and it was about Derrick Henry, and I think about the statement that the Ravens made there. And you start to wonder if the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is ready to take on Derrick Henry in Week 18, and you wonder if without DK Metcalf they could score more than 6 stinking points, because the Steelers lost to the Browns 13-6, and it was like Aaron Rodgers throwing back shoulder fades over and over to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who I didn't even realize was on the Steelers now. I think he's on his 3rd team this year.
Yeah, right.
That is not the way you want to be.
That's your number 1 receiver at the moment, by the way.
That's not how you want to look going into Week 18 in a game for the division.
I go on and on. The short of it is Steelers were really terrible on 3rd downs, 0 for on 4th downs, money down type of situations. They were really, really bad. Play-by-play, I don't think they were as terrible as this looks, but it's really disheartening because you could have rested all your old dudes, your Haywards and Rodgers, and you had the earliest bye week in the league. I mean, they could use the rest, and now you got to play a really physical game. If you do win, you limp into the playoffs, and just what could have been. Steelers have made a habit now of losing in Cleveland, which is different than losing in Baltimore or Cincinnati with Burrow and Lamar. These are bad teams you lose to over and over. And Rodgers didn't play great. The big thing, as you mentioned, though, is the Browns are really good at playing single high and playing man coverage, and they have nobody at the wide receiver position that can come close to beating man coverage right now, let alone against a good defense. It's Thielen and MVS. They weren't even on the team a month ago.
It's crazy. The winning receiver was Pat Fryermuth with 3 catches.
And they got him involved way too late. He had, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of second guessing of how the Steelers played this, but you should win that. I've said it over and over. That's a game you have to win.
The best way that the Steelers offense can muster the last few weeks is handing the ball off to their tight end. which is not a good thing.
They're doing a lot of that lately too.
Yeah,
right?
Johnny Smith had a big touchdown run.
Yeah.
Hayward had a big run in this game. I think that was a run, right? They handed it to him on that.
Yeah, it was a fake tush push that they had some wrinkles off the tush push stuff that he kept. Yeah.
But they
ran the ball well. Like they're good on both lines of scrimmage. They stopped the run. They played the run well. They've done some good things lately. But man, nobody on the outside can get open or make a play.
So we kind of mentioned the two big talking points that I wanted to ask you about. We mentioned the DK Metcalf thing, and he's setting himself up to be
villain
number one, where Steelers fans are going to want him traded right back out of town if they lose again and he missed these last two games. Right.
Yeah, you just extended them too. And right.
Yeah. And then the other one was Myles Garrett's comments after the game that said he felt like the Steelers offense was trying harder to not allow him to get a sack than they were to actually win the game. What did you think about that comment?
I've talked about this a lot today, and it really rubs me wrong. Not that he would say it, because, by the way, he's really good at poking the bear when it comes to the Steelers. I think he's smart about things he says and how to get people.
We've seen him swinging his helmet at guys, right?
Hey, smash Rudolph over the head with the helmet, right? But anyway, people around here hate him. But anyway, that narrative makes me crazy because Myles, I mean, the entire game plan was set around stopping you, not for you not to break the record against the Steelers. It's so you don't wreck the game because you're awesome. Yeah. That's why you're in this position to break the record. If you watch Browns Bills the week before, they did the exact same thing. They never ran at them. They have a million hands on them on every play. Yeah, they were super concerned with you, not because they won't want to be the team that you break the record against, because you're awesome.
Yeah.
So he's Taylor,
So he's half right, but
he's half right, but for the wrong reason.
To win the game because they're trying to avoid the best player.
Right. If you weren't so good, this wouldn't be a problem.
So again, loser goes home. Steelers, Ravens. It's going to be the last game of the entire 2025 regular season. Now that has been flexed to Sunday night football. Loser goes home. Division rivals, Steelers, Ravens. That is going to be a lot of fun in week 18. That we're going to talk a lot about. Jaguars continue to roll.
Real quick, one of my co-hosts kind of made a good spin of it. He's like, what more could you want? Steelers, Ravens, week 18 for all the marbles. This is going to be fun. Everyone else around here is like, well, we could have been resting and Will Howard could be playing right now.
More fun is
right.
Not having a heart attack next Sunday. But let's talk Jaguars. We'll talk a little bit about the AFC, the NFC, AFC matchups between the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Patriots, what they're doing right now. And it looks like we've got the Las Vegas Raiders locked into the number one pick in the NFL draft as well. Today's episode of the NFL Six Pack is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, HR, so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is an all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save hours every week for business operators. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnfl and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right. 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnfl. That's Gusto, GUSTO.com/lockedonnfl. So much to get into here from the week 17 schedule that was on Sunday. Still one more to go with the Rams on Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a heck of a streak right now, and they were even putting themselves in position to talk about the 1 seed, not only the AFC South here to end this 2025 regular season. They defeat the Colts 23-17, and that means the Jaguars have now won, to my calculations, 8 straight football games, right? Or is it 7 straight football games? I believe it is 7. Have a chance to be 8 straight here against the Titans in week 18 to solidify that division. And one thing that I think Liam Cohen, if you want to start to put some stars on his chest, is the way that his quarterback is playing right now, specifically against the blitz. And teams have tried to pressure Trevor Lawrence in the past, and it is not working right now. And he is dicing teams up. So the preparedness and, man, how you can see why Liam Cohen is in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel's in that conversation now. And by the way, according to FanDuel, Kyle Shanahan has leapfrogged both of them, is now the leader as far as Coach of the Year, which is deserved for all three guys. I think that is the three coaches you talk about for Coach of the Year right now after 17 weeks. But the way Liam Cohen has this team playing, pretty impressive for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who cannot lose.
We won't get to it, but pretty nice statement game by the Patriots, too, to just squash a bad opponent in 4 seconds, it felt like.
Right, yeah. It was like check in. It was like, okay, well, we can not check into that game anymore because we don't have to worry about what's going on with the Patriots and getting their 13th win, 42-10, by the way, against the Jets.
And maybe May's right back in the hunt for MVP, too. I mean, he was phenomenal in that game. I mean, definitely the Lawrence stuff since Jacoby Myers. I mean, there's some turning points with this offense that Strange and Parker Washington are massively contributing right now. And I don't know. I mean, we knew the Colts were kind of hanging on for dear life and the Rivers stuff was fun and all that. But Jags D, I mean, I thought they kind of had a statement in this one, too, that maybe that they're been a little overlooked in this winning streak as well. And I'm not quite there, and I've been kind of reluctant to put the Jags amongst the very best teams in the AFC, but they're shutting me up pretty quick.
I mean, the scoreboard. They have ultimate scoreboard right now, and it's impressive what they're doing. And the Colts try to play spoiler. They could not. 12-4 now are the Jacksonville Jaguars going into Week 18, and it is the Houston Texans that are hot on their tail right now. And they are, where are the Houston Texans? I lost.
They were the Saturday game.
They were, there we go. That's why they were Saturday. They were the first Saturday game, defeated the Chargers 20-16. So both the Chargers falling to 11-5 now in the AFC and the Texans improving to 11-5 in the AFC. And right now that would mean that the Houston Texans would have the tiebreaker over Buffalo and the Chargers based on a head-to-head sweep there. So as of today, the Texans would be the 5 seed and the Chargers would be the 6 seed after the loss. And the other 11-win team, the Buffalo Bills, would be the 7 seed. Obviously, all these 3 teams are going to be playing, though, again in Week 18.
Yeah, and as we were chatting, my phone lit up just like a minute ago. Harbaugh is going to sit Herbert next week, and that stuff we'll talk about during the week of what's it worth to move up in the seedings and health and rest, and Herbert could definitely use it.
We talked about this with Josh Allen before this weekend's games where I'd rather be in the 7 seed with my healthy quarterback. This goes for the Bills and the Chargers.
I would sit Josh Allen for sure this week.
Yeah, then the 5
He's hobbling around bad. Yeah,
hurt quarterback. Exactly.
And Herbert's the same way. And once again, he was pressured on 50% of his dropbacks. That's like every week. And let alone against this front, that Houston throws at you, which is the nastiest one out there. And their defense, to me, still remains number one. Houston's running the ball a little bit. This was a competitive game, though. And I really like where Houston's at. This wasn't the best game by the Texans, especially offensively and all that. But, man, Nico and those 2 young pups and Stroud. And I think Houston, I'm pretty happy that I put a bet about 6 weeks ago for Houston to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Oof, there you go.
They were well out of the playoff picture at that point, and it pays off well.
The Philadelphia Eagles defeated those Buffalo Bills, which is why they're in this position. And I think it's smart to get as healthy as you can for the playoffs for that team. And the Eagles now are, if I'm not mistaken, the Eagles can only be
they're going to win the division.
The two or the 3 seed in the NFC.
Right? It has to be. They can't get the 1, and they're not going to go to 4.
Yeah. So it's only the 2 or the 3 between the Eagles and the Bears.
So there was a lot of weather in this game that influenced things quite a bit, and it was kind of a tale of 2 halves. Scoring was tough overall, but Philly was good early, and then their offense dried up, and then the Bills were bad early, and then they generated some offense and made it very, very close down to the wire. Highly competitive game. between two teams that have played a lot of playoff football and are flawed. I mean, it didn't really feel like a Super Bowl matchup like you thought it might. And my big takeaway was, as you mentioned, Allen's foot is a problem. You know, like the last couple of weeks, he has not been Superman out there. And I would do everything possible. I don't even care where I play, what my seeding is. Right now, the Bills are 7, which who cares? I mean, like go to the Patriots. That's fine. I just want Allen to be healthy.
You got to get him right.
Yeah.
And this is wild for the Eagles because the Philadelphia Eagles, there have been 10, get this from True Media, relayed by Robert Mays. There have been 10 games this year where a team had fewer than 5 passing yards in a half. The Eagles have 3 of those. And they won all 3 of those games.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the running game hasn't been like the best in the league or anything.
Yeah.
Like crazy. You told me that last year, I might believe it, with Barkley ripping off 80-yarders left and right.
And yeah, it's a bug, not a feature, but they're still winning those games. The Eagles are 3-0 in games where they have 5 passing yards at halftime. And the Packers on the other side are 0-3 in games where they don't punt.
Wow.
How did that happen?
How's that happen? Right. They're definitely bugs, though. Yeah.
Here's another one from Ben Solak through ESPN Research. The 2025 Eagles are the first team since 1987. Those were the Patriots in 87 to win multiple games in a season in which they didn't complete a second half pass. Hurts is the first quarterback in the play-by-play era since 1978 to go 0-7 or worse in multiple games in a season.
Those are mind-boggling.
And that's the 2 or 3 seed in the NFC.
Yeah. I do think the Eagles D is really, really good, which backs up those stats. I mean, you can't have an average defense and pull any of that stuff off.
Yeah. One quick note about the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. The New York Giants defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. And we had talked about whether it was a soft or a soft or a hard tank by the Raiders. Well, to complete the tank, they made sure that Max Crosby, their best player, wasn't on the field either and shut him down for the last 2 weeks of the season just to make sure they get the number 1 pick in the draft. So 2-14 Raiders fall 34-10 against the 3-13 New York Giants.
Pickett finished the game. Geno got hurt. The Jets are maybe equally as miserable, but the Raiders have been clearly the worst team in the league. They have earned the number 1 pick overall. I got a kick out of the shutdown thing. Like most people noticed the Crosby situation, and he's on Instagram playing hoops with his kids and totally fine. But the Giants right before, we're going to shut down Andrew Thomas for the year. Well, I'll do you one better. I'll shut down Max Crosby.
But Max Crosby wasn't happy about it. So
no,
Max Crosby isn't going to be part of the plans because he was like, what is this BS?
I wonder if he starts asking for a trade now.
I would not be shocked at all. The first story of this offseason is Max Crosby requested trade from the Raiders. It's going to be a lot of fun in Week 18. We will continue to break it all down right here on the NFL Six Pack. Get involved in this week's mailbag as well at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL in the YouTube comments. Check out the Everydayer Club, ad-free content, Discord access as well. Go to nflsixpack.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes. And Matt and I back tomorrow right here, NFL Six Pack.